Oh well, life goes on. By now, the last golden streaks of the sunset are vanishing behind the western hills. Soon, the dark blanket of night shall settle over us all. It is the off season.
It's hot out there, but let's blow them off the line of scrimmage. Headline, Los Angeles.
Live from the Ram Cave, I'm Joe Terozine, and this is RamView Wrap-Up for the NFC Championship game for January the 25th, 2026. And this episode of RamView, of course, as always, our number one sponsor is brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Have you been injured in an auto accident? Do you need some help? Have you got some questions? Call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. Click on that QR code, KistlerLawFirm.com. That's one word, KistlerLawFirm.com. Kistler Law, they've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair. Having some auto issues, get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. And of course, by Sports Ball. Make the Super Bowl more fun, more social, and wager-free. Check out joinsportsball.com, which we'll be talking more about in the weeks to come. And, of course, by Game Day in the Ram Cave. Be sure to check that out. Hey, you want a football season with a happy ending? Go get your Game Day in the Ram Cave, and I'm thinking you're going to feel a whole lot better. Michael Negretti, McVay needs to stop calling at crunch time. He sucks. Well, we're going to have a whole bunch of stuff to talk about right now. The season comes up short. Seahawks defeat the Rams 31-27. I'm going to say it right here. I don't know if we're going to have an hour show. I don't know. It depends on you guys how long we want to go. But Seahawks won the game flat out. They took advantage of the Rams. They made the key plays. Rams didn't. Rams made some brain-dead plays that, you just don't expect. They stand out when it's a Sean McVay team, where we've been. Is there a bright side? Well, think where we were 10 years ago at the end of the 2016 season. So if someone told you 2 Super Bowls, 3 NFC Championship appearances, you'd feel pretty good. Start of the season, I said, I had it on my list, anything less than the NFC Championship game would be a wasted season. They achieved it. I said, we were talking 13-4 high end, 11-6 low end. They finished 12-5. Kyron Williams had fixed his fumbling problem. He did. So all these things happened that were nice. These were nice. But the Rams became this really weird team that kept getting torched by big plays down the stretch. The drive the Seahawks had at the end was a lot different than some of the other stuff they did during the course of the game. And I'm looking at this, and we'll break down the game in the process, but I'm thinking of 3 big moments in this game that cost the Rams the game. And it starts out with Darius Williams getting torched by Rashid Shaheed on the Seahawks' first possession. Big play, of course, right? That's what the Seahawks lived on in their Week 16 win. It's interesting. Brady talked about it a little bit. If Williams was expecting help, it didn't look like it. He leveraged Rashid to the outside, and he just got torched. Why was he pressing so close if he knew he was on an island out there? And then, of course, a few moments later, Walker scored on a 2-yard run. Rams respond by moving downfield. Puka makes a big catch. And then as the Rams are driving in, this is where I think Mr. Negretti is getting a little uptight about play calling. As the Rams are moving in, McVay goes to the end zone twice, and the Rams are forced to settle for a field goal. And I think, that could be a little frustration. Next Seahawk possession. Did you see Walker just totally ate Spates on that run? He just went boom and boom. I mean, he went so quick that Spates didn't even get a chance to spin his head. Hawks end up with a field goal on that one, and they're up, 10-3 at that point. Third possession, all the Rams' early runs had gone left. They ran left quite a bit tonight. And that possession ended where the Rams had to get rid of the ball. But did you see where Adams got mugged by Imanawari? That wasn't called. The Stafford face mask wasn't called. And I just felt refs didn't cost the Rams this game. but it highlights the inconsistency of how NFL does business where replay assist comes in, right? If you supposedly want to get it right, buzz down to the field and say, dude, that was a face mask, right? Clearly a face mask, right? Face masks are a little more cut and dry than, say, pass interference. But again, that replay assist is kind of a joke, and this is why people get upset. So the Rams end up going ahead 13-10. They come back down the field. They score. They go ahead 13-10. They get a stop, and they get the ball back with less than 2 minutes to play, and they blow it. They don't do anything. And I'm trying to figure out why Ronnie Rivers was on the field at the end of the first half, and they're forced to punt. I think they had the ball with 1:41 and 2 timeouts. And you're trying to figure out what were they doing. They ran once and then threw 2 incompletions and kicked the ball back, and that was a turning point. Seahawks got possession. I think it was on 3rd down, the big play to JSN down the middle, and then Rams looked like they were ready to get off the hook here, and then they find JSN lost in coverage in the corner of the end zone, and it's 17-13 at the half. That was a big play. Seahawks get the ball back to start the second half. Highly critical. They don't score and go up 2 possessions, right? Darnold completes a pass to JSN, but Verse kills the drive with a sack of Darnold. All right, things are good. And then the ball is punted, and Xavier Smith fumbles the ball. A moment later, Darnold hits Jake Bobo for a touchdown. And that was a turning point. So basically, with the last possession and first possession of the second half, which, we fumbled it back to them, so maybe it was the Seahawks' third possession or second possession of the second half, the Rams gave up 14 points. They didn't have to give up, right? They didn't have to give up, and they did. And then you add that with the big play, not taking it away from the Seahawks, taking it away from really some ridiculousness on the Rams' part. I want to know what Darius Williams was thinking. I want to know what Chris Shula was thinking. I want to know what Sean McVay was thinking. And honestly, Xavier Smith, it's a real bummer because the special teams seem like they kind of straightened things out. No Rashid Shaheed big runs. Mevis is really looking like our kicker for the next few years. And, I don't know if you could hold the special teams coach accountable for what Xavier Smith did. He fumbled the first one, if you remember, got it back. And then the second one, he might be unemployed in a few weeks with Tariq Woolen after what Woolen did. Rams get the ball back. So the Rams are down 24-13. And then Stafford just makes just amazing throws, right? To Parkinson and then to Adams. And the Rams come back in the touchdown pass to Adams, and it's 24-20. Seahawks, Rams had him in a spot, and they get a completion and a first down with Kupp on 3rd and 9. Walker gets an 11-yard run, and then Darnold to Cooper Kupp for a touchdown. If somebody wants to take Chris Shula off our hands, I'm fine. I'm ready for a change. And the other thing is we could stop to talk about an elite defense, right? And I think you could put some of it, yes, on the secondary, but you could put a lot of it on the shoddy tackling and just the inability to step up on these money downs. They stepped up on quite a bit of them in Chicago, but they didn't step up on them tonight. So they went back up 31-20. Again, Stafford, big play to Adams, Kyron Williams, when Kobe Turner and Jordan Whittington are shown going to the locker room, the Rams recover, and they get a 2nd and 15. Kyron Williams runs the ball. Nakua on that 3rd down breaks up an interception that Woolen should have had, and then Tariq Woolen goes and mouths off at the bench, and the Rams get a 1st and 10 after they should have been 4th and 12. And then Stafford takes advantage of it and goes deep to Nakua, who beats Woolen, and it's 31-27. And that's the final play. That's the final scoring of the night. And then the Seahawks keep coming down. The Rams stop them. They force a punt. Kyron Williams is on fair catch. And the Rams go 14 plays, 84 yards. It was an amazing drive. Corum for 10 yards. Corum catches a pass for 15. Williams catches a pass for 11. They kind of awkwardly go deep to Kanata Mumfield on a bomb. And then a great pass and run by Parkinson, who really decks Seahawk linebacker Derek Hall with a hand push, a straight arm. Short pass to Corum, another short pass to Corum on 3rd and 2. Parkinson then drops what would have been a touchdown. Remember that play? because the Rams end up going into fourth down after that. Stafford scrambles, goes full Mendoza, gets the first down, his first rushing first down of the year. You get an offsides against Seattle. They're going to throw a hitch to Xavier Smith, and instead Stafford looks the other way and pitches it out to Nakua. Nakua takes it inside the 5. And then the Rams are at 3rd and 4. And if it's 4 down territory, you can go back to play calling with Stafford. With McVay. If you're going to go into play calling there, if you knew you were going to go on 4th down, I think I would have run it again. And instead, he went to Mumfield, 7th round pick, on 3rd down. And then on 4th down, it was incomplete to Ferguson, which he wasn't open at all. 14 plays, 84 yards, and they come up, 3 yards short, 4 yards short. 449 to 59 left to play. I was good with them not going for the field goal because the defense couldn't stop anybody. There was no problem with that. And then sure enough, the point was proven. It all became academic because for roughly the next 5 minutes, the Rams couldn't get off the field, right? The pass to Walker that Young and Landman missed went for 16 yards. The first down throw to Kupp, I thought it was short. I thought the Rams got jobbed on that. You used to be able to ask for a measurement or ask for something on that, but I don't know. NFL makes up the rules as it goes. They quickly decided, there was no issue about Kupp surviving the ground. Then the catch by JSN that kept the clock running with 3 minutes to go, and the holding on Durant. And that was it. That was the ball game. And so no, McVay made the right call by going for the touchdown there at the end. I think on 3rd down, I would have run it one more time. So I guess you can say there were some issues with the play calling here. And again, I'm happy to talk about it. Sorry, I left that thing on there. I wanted to get my thoughts out before we started going at it. Terry Wright, sorry, mister. Okay, I'm sorry too. Let's see. Michael Negretti, Rams not scoring before halftime. The Sox scoring touchdown before. Yeah, mismanagement too. 2 incomplete passes, and we gave it right back to them. I think it was on 3rd down, and that pass down the middle to JSN, that was a disaster. Michael Negretti, this team missed too many tackles. Preach right there. Absolutely. Micah Gutierrez, gutted. Yes, I think we all are, Micah. Darlene Carroll up in Washington. You're okay, Darlene. You could root for the Seahawks. Your team played a better game tonight. Micah Gutierrez. McVay needs a big reset. His over-reliance on analytics cost us too many games. We could talk about the rest of the season and everything else starting on Wednesday. The reason I'm really coming on tonight is because I will be off the air on Monday and Tuesday. I'll be in credentials meetings. But I think a lot of things as the year went on. The problem with this Ram team was you could see all the potential. You could see how good this team is, right? You could see all all the good parts of this team. But, they keep having those lapses, right? The missed tackles, that's one. How do you lose? There's one guy to cover, Jackson Smith-Njigba. That's the one guy. To cover. And you don't. Not everyone's as enamored with Emmanuel Forbes like I was. I feel like this was his rookie year, but that's okay. You don't have to like him. But Darius Williams is clearly cooked and clearly done. I want to know what the thinking was leaving him on an island out there with the fastest player on the field. I didn't get that, right? And yes, I think it's fair to criticize McVay's play calling on some of these things. Absolutely. It really is. Did you see Stafford had plenty of time tonight, right? The offensive line did their job. They scored 27 points. I think the play calling hurt them on a lot of things, but there wasn't outside of Colby Parkinson. If Colby Parkinson holds on to that pass, he likely scores, and we're looking at something completely different, right? We're looking at a 34-31 Rams lead, and then we're looking at the Seahawks with 6 minutes coming downfield. Now, again, probably moot because our defense was really good on 1st and 2nd down, right? They were really good at getting the big sack, the breakup. But when it came down to 3rd down, those big money downs, They kept giving up big plays, and that's the part that's really frustrating, right? Now, you can rack up sacks in the first and second down, and it looks great in the stat box, and it'll make you some money, but it's not going to advance you if you're not going to do it on third down when you have to get off the field. Think about that. For everything else that went on, this elite so-called Rams defense that we were talking about, this elite defense, everyone was praising, and I don't think the Seahawks defense is as great as everyone says, right? Did you see a pass rush rattle Stafford tonight? I didn't. Did you see the ancient Devontae Adams absolutely torch and out muscle Witherspoon all night? Yeah, we saw all that. The Seahawks defense is not elite. I think we got a weird concept of what elite is. I didn't see elite, but I'm not worried about the Seahawks. They're playing in 2 weeks. Rams are turning in their gear. The Rams defense is not elite, right? And I don't think problems go away if you draft a corner with the number 1 pick you have, with the 13th overall. I don't think they go away. Not unless you're absolutely sure it's the next version of Patrick Surtain. They do not go away. There's some fundamental misses, right? Some fundamental misfirings here. It's like if you have a 6-cylinder engine and one of the cylinders is off. You ever blew a spark plug wire and had the spark plug fly out of your engine in the old days, and the car kind of runs, but it's always missing, right? And that's what this Rams defense is. And unfortunately, this Rams defense always seems to miss, right? Always seems to miss on third down or fourth down. Now, they did okay in Chicago, but they just got torched tonight. And they how many times did they have Kenneth Walker wrapped up? Now, Kenneth Walker's a really good running back, and they kind of closed it down more in the second half. But when it counted, they didn't close it down, right? They got some sacks of Darnold when it didn't matter, but when it mattered, they didn't get any sacks, right? When it mattered, they didn't get the important PBU, the pass breakup. So, yeah, this is something to examine, something to think about, something to consider going into this offseason. It's almost like a soul-searching thing. This team should have beat the Seahawks. You should not have given up 14 points at the end of the second quarter and at the beginning of the third. Completely different game if the Rams just play sound. Think about that. If they just play sound. They didn't have to score at the end of the first half. All they had to do was run enough clock off to keep the Seahawks from scoring. And what did they do? They threw twice and just punted the ball right back, right? That takes a score off the board. And then Xavier Smith, right? How do you account for brain dead, right? And that's 14 points right there. That's what? 27-17. I mean, it was just so frustrating. This is the Rams personnel-wise, everything. Best quarterback still in the playoffs at that time. Stafford was far better than Darnold, but Darnold played well. You look at this team, and I just see missed opportunity. Absolutely a missed opportunity, and I hope they're miserable the whole offseason. I hope it bothers Stafford enough how his teammates let him down that he comes back. If anyone talks trash about Matthew Stafford around me, it's over, baby. No one talks trash about Matthew Stafford. No one talks trash about the offensive line. No one talks trash about the running backs. No one talks trash about Puka Nacua. But you can get a third receiver, and you're going to need one. And yeah, but you can talk trash about McVay's play calling. You can talk trash about Chris Shula not having this team ready on money downs. You could do the bend but don't break stuff, and it works. But if your team's not getting off the field and an opponent that you've already played twice with an offensive line that is weak comparatively, bro, you got a problem. You got a real problem. And again, explain to me at the start of the game, how is Darius? You see the way Darius Williams turns. He's moving Shaheed to the sideline. He's using that. I don't think he's expecting help. What is he doing so close to the fastest player on the field, and he's getting torched by 5 yards? Help me. Was that in the discussion, right? Yeah, really frustrating because this is a season that you had an opportunity and you just barfed it up, right? You just barfed it up. Irvin Arroyo, thank you for clicking on, Irvin. Whack-ass defense, period. There you go. Michael Negretti, we need to work on the defense in the draft and free agency. Give the Raiders a call for Max Crosby. Down with the get down. We need AD to unretire. I'm going to tell you why you might need AD to unretire. It's not going to happen, but I'll tell you why. And this is why you need Max Crosby. You need somebody on that defense who's not a good guy. You need somebody who puts the fear of the Lord, right, into that defense, right? You need somebody they're afraid of, right? There's that great scene in that movie 13 Hours where one of the contract workers is asking them, hey, man, just get a flyover by an F-15, a low, loud flyover to put the wrath of God and the United States into these guys. They need someone to come in and put the wrath on these defensive players because I think the Rams lack a nastiness and they lack that killer instinct. They don't finish enough tackles. They don't do these things. It's not a blow up situation. It's a situation where it's a grow up situation. And there might have to be a sacrifice, right? There might have to be somebody that goes out the door to let everyone else know this business is real. This business is real. And you know what? Someone besides Xavier Smith is paying a price. Byron, you're gone, right? Love you, Byron, but somebody's got to go. Somebody's got to pay the price for this because Darius Williams, he's got $2 million left guaranteed. He's gone. I can't imagine Darius Williams coming back. Kobe Durant, if he wants to come back, he's going to come back at a cutthroat rate. He had a really pretty good productive postseason. He wants to come back. He's not going to get big money. He's not a bad dude to have, right? And so you got to bring in somebody. There's some guys that are already out the door, but I think a name needs to go, and that name very well might be Byron Young, right? It's like, bro, we love you, but we just can't smile, right? I want Max Crosby. If you have to give up Byron Young and a second-round pick and maybe a fifth-round pick for Max Crosby, fine, let's do it, right? Raiders should be anxious to move off of Max Crosby, and we need a guy like Max Crosby. You're not going to get AD, but there's not enough. There's just not enough on this defense that they close the deal. Anyone want to talk about Stafford tonight? I mean, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, please don't let this. I'm thinking I don't want the Rams to lose because I don't want to come on the air and say the Rams lost and not be able to talk more football. But I'm thinking I'm watching this. I don't want the Rams to lose because I don't want this to be the last time I see Matthew Stafford play quarterback, right? We had that discussion around the table today. Kurt Warner or Matthew Stafford, those are the only two in modern Rams history that really deserve this kind of a discussion. And you want to pick Kurt Warner, great. But, man, just so much fun to watch Matthew Stafford play football, right? Just so much fun to watch Matthew Stafford play football. So, all right, it is 22 minutes in. I'm happy to go 30 minutes. If you guys have any questions or thoughts you want to throw out there, I will do my best to validate them. But let me say this again, is the Rams provided opportunity. The Seahawks took advantage of opportunity. That's it, right? Because you could provide opportunity, but the Seahawks took advantage of it. I kept waiting all night. At some point, Darnold is going to Darnold. Still, if you ask me, do I fear Sam Darnold? Not in the least. Not in the least. We kept watching this. Somewhere Darnold's going to Darnold. He missed the snap. That looked like, okay, this is the beginning of it. When they were throwing the ball in a couple of plays at the end, I was really excited because I just knew it was going to come, right? And it didn't. So credit to them. JSN made catches. Kenneth Walker made plays. Their offensive line, which their center and guard aren't good, their left guard's okay. They gave up some hits. They gave up some sacks. They weren't perfect, but they got the job done. They got the job done when they needed to get the job done. When Darnold needed that extra half second to look downfield, he gave them that extra half second. And the Rams were always giving up those extra half seconds on third down. Again, you'll see some sacks and you'll see some plays, but you don't see them that much on the money downs and too much. And when they really needed them, the Rams didn't make those plays. So I walk away from this. I hate for them to come back and say the special teams, right? Well, you muff a punt. When you fumble a punt, that's on you. That's hard to say it was on the team, right? You notice that when Xavier Smith actually lost the ball there in the third quarter, They didn't take the entire special teams off the field. They took Xavier Smith off the field, right? And had Kyron Williams go in there and just field those punts. And that's the bummer, because on the whole, the kicks, the coverage, the special teams did its job. One guy fumbled it, and now the whole special teams is going to pay for it. And like I said, maybe Tariq Woolen and Xavier Smith could launch a podcast together on how I screwed up, right? And so that part is really frustrating. My frustration probably hinges more on the defense. I want to know what Chris Shula was thinking. I want to know why the Rams are not locked up on defense. I want to know why they're not locked up on defense. I want to know why they're missing so many tackles. Shula is missing something here. Shula is missing something here that I think requires, please let him be a head coach somewhere. But he's not going to be. I don't think he is. So I think that's a big deal. And then McVay. McVay will come back and say, I own it. McVay all season said, yeah, I got a little greedy there. McVay, we were talking that maybe if Stafford was a less talented quarterback, McVay would be a little more thoughtful and cautious and discerning. But because Stafford is such an excellent quarterback, such an excellent passer of the ball, you always think scoring opportunities are there. This is why when it's 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3 from the 4, you're still throwing when maybe you should have pounded it with Corum one more time and then make it a 4th and 1 at the 2 to get the first down, or you score a touchdown, right? If you were already made up your mind that you were going to go for it on 4 downs there, then maybe you should have ran the ball there. You should have ran the ball at the end of the first half and been satisfied to be up 13-10 and have recaptured all the momentum, right? Think about that. They scored on their first possession on the bomb. Then after that, they were held to a field goal, and everything else kind of settled down, right? The offense of the Rams picked up 3 scoring drives. So things were clicking there, and then you could have taken that into the second half, gotten a stop, and then we could have seen a completely different second half play out. We didn't, right? We didn't. And that's on McVay with the play calling, right? So, yeah, very frustrating because a lot of meat was left on the bone for the 2025 season, and now it's over. So I appreciate you guys clicking on. Let me see here. Oh, you guys did. More of you clicked on. Let's see. Brian Smith. Kubiak, next Raiders HC. Will be nice to see Seattle staff get poached. There you go. Hey, I got to believe people are lining up to take the Raider job because I think the Raiders are going to be better. And I think everyone wants Mendoza, and that would be a guy. Mr. Katikian, missed you today, Chief. Without the taunting penalty, it's possibly a very different fourth quarter. Here's the thing. The taunting penalty happened, but he still had to go, 40 yards to Nakua, right? So it wasn't like it was a give me at the goal line. But honestly, I was happy to see, was it Nick Emmanwori, the rookie safety, star corner slot coverage guy, go after Tariq Woolen, who was a 6th-round pick who's exceeded expectations, but has had an up-and-down career because he's brain dead. He's just incredibly physically talented. But no, you're right. You could say if they didn't do that, it would have been different. But you know what? You still had to go, 40 yards in the air on a fantastic catch by Nakua. So I think the Rams earned that one. Mevis, let's see. Let me put you guys up here. Let me go. Let's see here. Mevis, proud of Mevis. Yeah, Brian's. Hey, I think we got a guy there. I think we got a guy in Mevis. So that feels good. Actual David Henry, it was so painful to watch. Yeah, it was so painful to watch. Pastor Joe, I hate playing the zone coverage. How about playing man-to-man? Well, let me ask you again. I think they fluctuate back and forth. Can somebody give me a rational argument? Somebody with a coaching background. Somebody tell me something here. What the heck was going on with Darius Williams on that first possession? Now, again, there are other things that happened, but that was, again, the Seahawks, up until the last drive, they always kill the Rams with big plays. They don't kill the Rams with time-consuming drives, right? And that first play, right? They go long to Rashid Shaheed, And you're looking at, he's up in press. He's not playing zone. And was he expecting help? If you're expecting help, don't you turn him to the inside? At least that was my experience. Teach me something new. It looked like Darius wanted him to go up to the sideline to use the sideline as an advantage. But why was he playing so close to Shaheed when, again, he's the fastest guy on the field? Help me, right? Help me help you. I don't get it. Was that game plan for? Did Darius Williams, who's got a Super Bowl ring, who had a pick 6 in the last Seattle playoff game back in 2020, he's clearly come to the end of the line. Why was he pressing so close on Rashid Shaheed? I didn't get it. I honestly didn't get it. And that one was a tough one to swallow, right? That was a real tough one to swallow. Again, Seahawks made the plays. The Rams didn't. They made the plays on third down. We're sitting there going, okay, get away with the field goal. Get away with the field goal. And JSN gets lost in the secondary, right? Absolutely lost out there. And it's like, how does that happen? How does that happen? And I think there's some soul searching that needs to go on. Whether he gets a head coaching job or not, I am not going to have a problem of Chris Shula being put in the street. I'm not, because something is missing in that room. And I think one of the things that's missing is a bad dude, is a dude that's really everyone's afraid of. That's a guy that should be in that room. And I think whatever is happening here with the tackling, missed tackles in early 2024 and 2023 with some of these young guys, perfectly understandable. But we're talking Jared Verse finishing his second year. Byron Young finished his third. Kobe Turner finishing his third. No longer acceptable to have these missed tackles. And it really became evident tonight. So, yeah. Again, the Rams kind of fluctuate back and forth there. But I'm looking at Darius Williams, and I'm waiting for a correction. I'm happy to take a correction. Thing about sports writers is sports writers think they know, and then coaches come and correct them, and so I am willing to be corrected here. Darius Williams looked like he was in man. He looked like he was wanting Rashid Shaheed to go to the sideline, and he was playing too close, and he got torched. That's what it looked like to me. Didn't look like he was going to get safety help at all, right? Didn't look like he was going to get it at all. And then he got beat by Bobo, 4 catches all year. That one was brutal. So, yeah, there we go. Happy to move on here. When we come back, we'll start looking at positions, free agents. We've done that already. We've begun that process. Now, here's my issue when we talk about drafting a corner. When we talk about drafting a corner, here's my issue is I think Sauce Gardner is overrated, and they paid him too much money, and everyone was raving about Sauce Gardner. I think Terrion Arnold in Detroit hasn't been that great. I think he was a top 10 pick, right? You don't know with these corners, right? 1 out of 5 is Patrick Surtain. Rams won a Super Bowl. Well, I guess Jalen Ramsey was there, but I'd much rather see them go out and get a proven corner and make that kind of a deal than draft one. Rams, like I said, have not drafted a corner any higher than 3rd round, 79th overall since 2019. That was the last top 100 corner the Rams drafted, and that was David Lang Jr. And how did that work out? It never did. So corners are a real crapshoot, right? They're a real crapshoot. You don't know what you're going to get in a corner. And I know everyone is going to be tomorrow morning hot on Rams got to draft a corner. Rams play a little bit smarter defense, right? Rams get some tackles. Rams make plays because they're perfectly capable of making the plays. They make those plays on 3rd down in the NFC title game. I don't think we're having the same conversation, but and I don't know if the Rams front office is going to be bullied by their fan base into drafting a corner at number 13. What they really need to do is they need to double down on what they're best at. If Stafford comes back, and you saw no reason for Stafford not being able to come back. Does he want to come back is a different story. But You didn't see any reason. There was nothing about Stafford's play. The throws he was making were, how do you even describe the throws he was making, right? So what you want to do on that is you want to get him another weapon. I'd go wide receiver at 13. At 29, I'm going bad dude, right? Let's trade. Let's make a deal. Let's add Byron Young and a couple of picks. Send it to Las Vegas. Let's get Max Crosby over here, and then let's draft another run stuffer along the defensive front. Because are you going to get another year out of Poona Ford like you did this year? Right, guy's got a lot of mileage on him. He had a great year. I like him better than Ashawn Robinson, but are you going to get another year like that? Right. So there are things here a lot of things you got to discuss. Rams have a full complement of draft picks, 4 picks in the top 100 right now. They might get a 5th pick in the first 3 rounds if Nate Schalise, I thought it was Shellhouse. If he gets the Cleveland job, we don't know for sure if that's going to happen. So the Rams have opportunity here to develop and make moves. But I would double down as much as I could on the offense. I really would. I would double down. I wouldn't be surprised in the 5th round the Rams grab a tight end. Don't be surprised. Higbee was a non-factor tonight. But did Higbee even see the field tonight? I don't even know. Again, everything probably changes also if Parkinson just holds on. He makes all the other catches. He makes that catch. Good chance he scores on that play. It's, again, so much meat left on this bone. So much meat left on this bone. But as it works out, the season is over. The Rams, what are the Rams?
You are obsolete. You are obsolete.
That's what the Rams are. The Rams are.
You are obsolete. You are obsolete.
The season is over, right? So probably good that I'm not going to be on the air again until Wednesday. We'll find out. We'll hear the press conference. We'll hear everything else. I didn't watch any press conference yet. I just wanted to come on raw, and we'll go from there. I do appreciate you guys. Season's not over, guys. I mean, for us, right? So we're going to be on the air on Wednesday, on Friday, and we're going to keep going 3 times a week. The idea is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but if I can't be on a certain day, I'll be back on the next day. And I am going to go watch the Super Bowl with some friends. The saving grace is that I am watching the Super Bowl with friends this year, and I don't have to be the Debbie Downer that doesn't want to watch the Super Bowl with my friends. So I'm going to be doing that. And we are going to do the new season when it starts. I think it's March 13th, March 15th. That's when the new league season begins. We'll be talking draft, combine, all that stuff. We got the new graphics now, so we can keep talking and look at lists of mock drafts and who's got a mock draft for this and who's got a mock draft for that, and try to pinpoint some accuracy here what the Rams are going to do. That's a lot of fun. I'll take your mock drafts if you want to send them to me. We're going to have fun. We're not going to stop. We're going to keep pressing on. Maybe the shows won't be 50 minutes to an hour because there'll be a little less content to talk about, but we don't go away. Appreciate your guys' support all season. Actual David Henry, we prayed for your sister-in-law today. Matt Katikian, we missed you today. Michael Negretti, Micah Gutierrez, I feel your pain. We feel each other's pain. Brian Smith, we agree. We want Kubiak to be the Raiders' next head coach, and we're feeling really good about Mevis Harrison. Terry Wright from San Luis Obispo, Darlene Carroll from Washington, thank you so much. Irvin Arroyo, thank you for clicking on, and all you guys, I do appreciate it. I know some of you guys are being beaten up by the weather out there. I will tell you this, it was like a really cold, like 75 today in LA. It was brutal, so there we go. All right. So as far as the regular season and the postseason for the Rams, it is.
You are obsolete. You are obsolete.
I kind of want Chris Shula to hear that tonight.
You are obsolete. You are obsolete.
I want Sean McVay thinking about that tonight.
You are obsolete.
I want them miserable. Now, how miserable do I want them? I want the Patriots to win the Super Bowl because, I just don't want the Seahawks to win. But you know what? For the misery, for them to remember how miserable this feeling is, I wouldn't mind if the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, just because I want the Rams to feel miserable. I want them
You
to feel
are obsolete. You are obsolete.
all right, guys. God bless. Take care. Hey, it's not goodbye. It's just till next time.